The Utes are not. Now, let me start that over. I'm just all over the place here. The Utes are not used to losing, and we'll see if 2025 will be better uh, sledding for Kyle Whittingham and the rest of the crew. We got the Wild Ute here to break down Utah football. First losing season since 2013 at 5-7, a 7-game skid involved there. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Philip, good to see you. And yeah, Big 12 Media Days this week. Wanted to get your thoughts about what was stated there. Anything stand out? I got to think that Kyle Whittingham was probably spewing a lot of coach speak, but anything that you picked up that was meaningful?
A lot of coach speak going on, a lot of talk about NIL too in the Big 12. Texas Tech and BYU have some serious rich boosters. And they said this new clearinghouse that's come in for Deloitte and everything's caused quite a stir. Obviously, we know there's a lot of legal questions surrounding that, but really the talk of the Big 12 is what does recruiting look like? Are there going to be any guardrails around recruiting? Or else are we going to be in the Wild West where collectives can still pay kids as much as they want for pay-for-play inducements? So in the Big 12, during Big 12 Media Days, Whittingham brought this up. It was the talk of the town still, super relevant in the Big 12 because Texas Tech largely is kind of the poster child for paying a lot of money to players to come play there.
Yeah,
so it's BYU, those two rich collectives, right? So that is still the talk of the town in the Big 12.
Okay, you dropped the two names I was going to hit on. Yeah, everybody knows about Texas Tech. I got to admit, I'm a little bit surprised about BYU's plunge. How prepared and equipped do you think Utah is for this new age of college football?
I think Utah is equipped, much like all the other Big 12 schools. The thing is, like, Utah's going to do it a full rev share, the $21.5 million, and most of that's going to go to football, just like all the other schools that have committed that. That's not going to be an issue, the rev share part. The caveat here is the outside collective support. Utah's got collective support. It's not like it's bad, but like when you're looking at Texas Tech, who's got Cody Campbell and billions of dollars that he's willing just to throw at players because he wants to see return on investment. I mean, that's a different world, right? Like Utah doesn't have a known billionaire that's funding their program and trying to pull in 5-star kids, right? Like that is a unique thing. BYU actually, believe it or not, Provo, Utah, Lehigh, Utah is a bastion for new startup businesses. Like really, like it's one of like the biggest startup places in all the U.S. And so there's a lot of small business owners in that area that are actually pooling money and pulling some pretty good recruits over there in Cougar country too, because of this collective support. So those are the reasons that you're seeing that so many players are going to BYU and to Texas Tech. But Utah, they're fine as far as funding and everything else. They just don't have that large booster to step in and yell like a Cody Campbell just to throw the bags out, the over-the-counter bag man, as we'd say, in college football today.
Maybe a few dollars went the way of Devin Dampier coming in from New Mexico. I'm sure it wasn't huge money, but he certainly pulled through as the Mountain West Conference first-team quarterback, had an excellent year with over 1,000 yards rushing, so he's obviously a superior dual-threat guy. Isaac Wilson took his lumps, but he was a true freshman, 10 TDs, 11 picks, so the quarterback room looks to be in order.
Well, I'll tell you what, Devin Dampier is an absolute stud, Mark. Love this kid. He is such a playmaker. He's electric. He reminds me of Johnny Manziel. Like he's got to prove it still at that highest level and everything, but he plays like so slippery, such a playmaker. He's got the arm strength. He's just electric. Utah hasn't had a quarterback like Devin Dampier in a long, long time. Cam Rising was a field general. He was a leader. He was great in his own right, but Dampier's a completely different player, explosive. When's the last time like you can really think of like a Utah quarterback with his legs that's been really explosive? Like maybe Tyler Huntley several years ago. I mean, Dampier is even more slippery and explosive than Huntley was.
Who turned out to be a better pro quarterback than I anticipated.
Right?
Yeah.
Huntley, absolutely. Dampier, in my view, is probably the most raw, talented quarterback that Utah's had, maybe over the last 2 decades. Like, can he get it done? Can he prove it? Can he limit interceptions? That's going to be his crux there. That's the question. But I tell you what, like the upside with this Utes team with Dampier at the helm is through the roof. And I think that Utes are flying under the radar in the Big 12. And they're going to surprise a lot of people this year because a lot of the Big 12 communities think the Utes are basically out. They're counting the Utes out. Hey, you didn't win last year. You said you were going to win the conference last year. It didn't happen. We don't trust that you're going to do anything this year. And I think that you're going to surprise a lot of folks in the Big 12 conference and really compete for the crown this year.
Well, that was the talk, of course, minus Oklahoma and Texas. Utah coming in with such recent success from the Pac-12. Wow, they're just going to run roughshod over this conference. And injuries took a toll, and a 7-game losing streak after a 4-0 start. So that's long forgotten. It's largely a new offense outside of Isaac Wilson, possibly needing to be a guy that would step in from time to time. I see the Washington State transfer coming in at Wayshawn Parker. He gained almost 800 yards there. And when you look at the skill position players, almost all filled by transfers.
Sure. Yeah. So the skill position players, especially the wide receiver core, is the biggest question mark on this football team. There's a lot of guys coming in. Dampier, when he came in from New Mexico with Jason Beck, they brought over Ryan Davis, who's projected to be a starting wide receiver. He was at New Mexico. And also they brought in Naquari Rogers here. He's going to be probably the second string running back behind, as you mentioned, Wayshawn Parker. So really, you're bringing over a large portion of this New Mexico offense that was so explosive last year, and you're bringing over the offensive coordinator. So Ryan Davis is going to be a huge part at wide receiver. Creed Whittemore, he was a transfer from Mississippi State. He's going to be a player. He's probably going to be a projected starter as well. Then a kid named Tobias Merriweather that came out of Cal, transferred out of Cal. Before was at Notre Dame. High 5-star, maybe like 4-star, high 4-star recruit. He's going to be a projected starter as well. So a lot of change at wide receiver, which is good because the Utes really struggled at wide receiver last year. Outside of Dorian Singer, he was really the only player that could get open. And so this U team, it's going to really depend on how explosive this offense is on that wide receiver core. But the running back room is very talented and very explosive, as you mentioned. So Wayshawn Parker, game-breaking speed, a playmaker. He can bust a touchdown from really anywhere. Then you've also got a kid that's coming in here as a freshman, and that's Daniel Bray. Kid is lightning quick. New recruit. He's going to get a lot of snaps too. So I'm very optimistic that there are going to be a lot of points scored by this Utah football team. And next, we're probably going to get to the offensive line, which is the strength of the team. I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, dive into the offensive line because the skill position players obviously have numbers attached in regards to statistics, and those are the guys that carry the ball. So those are the ones that the fans gravitate to. But I heard an NFL general manager say at one time, when he's looking at which teams are going to be the best teams in the league the next year, he looks experience and productivity along the offensive line as well as starting quarterback. Those are the guys that make it all work. And it's not just the talent up front, it's obviously the cohesion of the unit working together.
The entire offensive line is coming back from last year. And not only that, the quality is exceptional. The tackles, Mark, here. Utah has 2 projected first-round NFL pick tackles. Utah Utes have 2 first-round tackles on this roster that are probably leaving after this season. Studs, Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu. Lomu's the left tackle. Fano is the right tackle. Fano is getting all the credit in the world. I think Pro Football Focus has Fano as the number 5 overall best player in the freaking nation. Like, we're talking about studs on this offensive line. We're talking about a lot of experience in the interior offensive line. Utah is going to pile drive teams in the Big 12 this year with this offensive line. And when you're talking about Devin Dampier or Wayshawn Parker behind this offensive line, yeah, there's going to be a lot of movement going on. There's going to be a lot of rushing yards that the Utes get. That's one of the exciting parts. Utah might have the best offensive line in the whole nation, not just in the Big 12, certainly in the Big 12, in the nation. We're talking about, seriously, out of everybody here. So a lot of optimism in Ute country, especially with its tackle positions. There's depth too. So as far as the strength of this football team, it is the offensive line, especially the tackles.
You can catch College Football Mafia right here on YouTube. Philip and the rest of the crew getting together to break down college football. Anything else people need to know about where to find you, Philip, and what do you got going?
Yep. So you can find me on X at the Wild Ute, and of course on College Football Mafia, talking about college football news, realignment, Big 12, a lot of different stuff. Good times. Come over there.
7 consecutive losses typically means bad defense, but not necessarily for this team. Held opponents to 25 points per game. That was actually less than that. 20.7 points per game, 25th in the nation in scoring defense. A lot of guys back. Of course, Morgan Scally has been one of the best in the business for quite some time. So you got to be optimistic there with your top tackler coming back as well.
Look, Utah 5-7 in 2024. Extremely disappointing season. Let me just ask you a question real quick, Mark, though. Okay. Be honest about this. If Cam Rising doesn't hurt his hand versus Baylor in week 3, what's the Utes record? Just spitballing it.
That spitball.
Is it going to be 5-7?
9-3.
Exactly. Right. So I think we need to be honest about the reason for that. The 5-7 record. It was Isaac Wilson stepping in, true freshman. He just wasn't ready for that. Quarterback play impacted things a lot last year. When Rising went down, there wasn't enough quality depth there at the quarterback position to get it done last year. There's no issues with the defense. One of the best defenses in the nation last year, even despite the offense not scoring really any points. And so you've lost a couple players on defense, but the defense is always solid for Utah. And if you're looking at position by position, really the strongest position is going to be your linebacking unit, in my view here. So you've got Lander Barton, complete stud. He's been there for multiple year starter. He's going to play in the NFL. He's your stud linebacker. You've got Leavani Damuni, who before the season last year, transferred from Stanford from a couple of years ago, got hurt last year, didn't play a snap all last year. He's coming back, smart player, experienced player. And then last at linebacker, Jonathan Hall. This is it's really stacked and stud group of linebackers. And when Utah has had the best defenses, it's always starting at linebacker. Utah always brings the defensive line, but linebacker quality really suggests how good this Utah defense is going to be historically. I love the linebacker play coming into this year. Look, the one concern, though, is the depth at linebacker is a little unproven. There's the starting squad's great. The depth, though, is still a question mark. But you're looking at the defensive tackles, the defensive line. Utah's always good on the defensive line. One of the best players actually transferred from Utah to BYU, which caused quite a stir in the offseason. That did hurt. But really, it's kind of a plug-and-play reload for Utah on the defensive tackle, in the defensive tackle room and defensive line. So there's quality there. There's a bit of a question mark, too, though, since they lost one of the stud players they had. And then going and looking at really the strong safeties and the safety room versus the cornerbacks, you're looking at a really sturdy group that has a lot of starting experience, no concern there. So when you're taking a whole circle around this defense and stuff, at some positions, you would like a little bit more depth, but the quality is there. It's going to be one of the best position groups in the Big 12 conference. It's not going to cost Utah a lot of games this season.
Yeah, and I noticed not just the defensive lineman, but you lost a tight end to BYU. That's not supposed to happen. The Holy War. You're not supposed to cross enemy lines.
It happens all the time. But Carson Rhines, the player you're talking about that transferred, when you change offenses from a pro style Andy Ludwig to more of a spread, I get it. If you're tight end and stuff, you're probably not going to see the balls much. There's going to be a couple transfer tight ends for that reason and everything. There's a scheme change and everything. Not the big deal, but I think that would cause concern. But the defensive line player that moved is much more concerning, and it caused much more of a riot too. I'd used losing defensive tackles to BYU is not ideal.
Yeah, I just did a BYU breakdown, but his name escapes me. But it's a long Polynesian name. But yes, moving on to the rivals. When I look at this schedule, Philip, in the Big 12, it's the most difficult scheduled conference to evaluate, because the other ones you look at, the SEC or the Big 10, and you're like, okay, do you have to play Ohio State or Georgia? Or, you look at the best teams and see if some teams are fortunate enough to miss them. But in the Big 12, who knows who's going to be good and who's not going to be good. And even if it follows script and Arizona State's back and Kansas State's back, and it's still so tightly compacted in regards to the top and the bottom, it's difficult to evaluate the schedule. But I got to say that I love the opener as an old Pac-12 game, a game that we've seen some memorable matchups between UCLA and Utah. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, at UCLA Rose Bowl, there's a lot of Ute fans traveling out for that one. What a game to start the season. Did you see what time the kickoff is, though? Holy smokes. It's at 11
I
p.m.
did.
Eastern time
The
on
Fox
Fox.
game. Yes,
Oh my
I did see that.
Oh, man. What a great matchup, though. Despite the time, I love the UCLA start-out matchup, a Big Ten team, a lot of history between Utah and UCLA. Two new starting quarterbacks for both programs. We're going to learn a lot about both programs, and we're going to learn a lot about Utah and Dampier to see if he can get it done versus a UCLA defense that should be pretty good, especially towards the end of the season. So I think that's going to tell us a lot on the quality of the squad. I fully expect Utah to win this football game, though, Mark. If they don't beat UCLA, the season's not going to go the way a lot of Ute fans want it to go. It's really game to say, hey, show it. Like, we think that we've got this team and stuff. Can we score the points? Can we hold them on defense? Let's do this thing. So we'll see how it plays out. It's fun playing Nico first game. We'll see how he plays since he's only been in the UCLA program for now a few months. But it's kind of an explosive, fun matchup for sure.
Well, I will say this, Philip, that, UCLA is not supposed to be a world beater this year, but they have swapped out quarterbacks, and they were a pretty tough football team the back half of last season. And Utah has certainly got a history of stumbling early and then recovering to put on a charge and put together a great season. So it's happened before.
Absolutely. Yeah. Utes sometimes, especially in conference play, early can stumble. In more distant history, Utah struggled late, but they kind of corrected that several years ago. They've got to get this game. I mean, you've got to win this UCLA game. It's super winnable. National media exposure here, despite its late start. People are going to be watching this football game. And for Devin Dampier, I think it's a big one just to get the attention on the Utes again. The Utes are going to come into the season likely unranked this year. If you beat UCLA, maybe go 2-0. We're going to talk about the next game here in a second. Then get in the top 25. Hopefully, you just got to win this game. There's some games that are just like, hey, this is there. We have to take this game, and this season could be really special if we get this one. Obviously, at UCLA is one of those.
Yeah, so just run down the rest of the schedule and basically what stands out to you. I see no Iowa State is pretty much the standout item that popped out to me.
Yeah, so Utah's playing basically all of the Big 12 contenders outside of Iowa State. Let's just run it down. Game 2, Cal Poly, the Mustangs at home should win that football game. Game 3 at Wyoming Cowboys in Laramie, Wyoming. Why in the world is Utah playing in Laramie, Mark? I've been saying this for years. I've been dreading this football game for years. I cannot believe Utah's going up to Laramie. It's always a tougher place to play than you'd ever want or imagine. They're gonna get this win, but maybe at a cost. At Wyoming, game 3. I anticipate Utah's 3-0.
Not to cut you off, I think Texas Tech made that trip a couple years ago, and it didn't work out too well for them. And
why
others.
in the world?
Yes.
Right. Why? Why do you play that game?
It doesn't help you at all.
So that game's going to be on CBS Sports Network too, right? So you're going to go 3-0 though. I anticipate 3-0 if you beat UCLA. And then we're talking about a huge game in the Big 12. And this is Texas Tech Red Raiders coming into Rice-Eccles Stadium. Massive game, perhaps even the game of the year in the Big 12. I'm serious about that when it all comes down to it. Texas Tech coming into Rice-Eccles for the first time. And both teams, hopefully top 25 teams. Texas Tech's going to be one of the best Big 12 schools with all the transfer kids they've had with Baird Morton. Man, that team's stacked. They're going to be extremely good. This game, it's a 50-50 game. I think Utah gets it done still since a home game, but it's so unpredictable. Who knows who gets it? Huge advantage for whoever gets this tie-breaking game. It's game 4, Texas Tech at Utah. Now moving on the schedule. Right after you're going to West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia's projected to be in the last quadrant of the Big 12. They sometimes are picked even 16th of the Big 12 out of 16 schools, 14 through 16. You got to get this win. It's a long trip for Utah. It's the longest trip of the year, going out to Morgantown. but you've got to win this football games at West Virginia the week after Texas Tech. It's going to be a tough one after a battle with Texas Tech. Can you get this game? Because if you can, then you've got a bye week to rest. So I don't know. What do you think about that game, Mark, at West Virginia after Texas Tech?
Yeah, that's a tricky spot. West Virginia has a lot of pride at home in particular. So unfortunately, we got to wrap it up. So I can't dive through the rest of the schedule, but do appreciate you being here, Philip, breaking things down for us. And again, College Football Mafia, it's a great show. Nathan, Philip, and the rest of the crew there, and the Wild Ute, please check out everything concerning Utah football and athletics right there. Appreciate you being here, man. Thanks for the breakdown.
Thanks, Mark. Take care.
Sorry about that. I just